everybody, welcome back to Kroop Scoop, the show where we talk about different creative mediums. If you are a content creator and you make, music, YouTube videos, books, I guess, I don't know. if you're just a content creator in general, this is the show for you. So I'm your host, Kroop, and I'm joined with Hain Kai, and we got the famous Dr. Pepper drinker over there, Mr. It's Fako.
I'm exclusively regarded for my drinking of Dr. Pepper.
Huge announcement, he is now officially a scooper. Woo! He's going to start scooping, we're going to start scooping each other's brains.
So I think we have a few topics that we want to talk about. Since Fako's never been on one of these, we've recorded one of these back in June. We'll maybe try to focus on his stuff, maybe.
I like talking about myself. That's how you know I do YouTube.
For people who don't know, I make music. I'm a producer and songwriter, and Ethan's a video maker. So I think
I also make videos.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a YouTuber.
Video essayist.
I'm doing a lot of snapping. That's not a thing I do.
He's quirky.
I'm not a snapping guy.
So I think the first topic we want to talk about is finding your style, or with music, it's finding your sound, finding your what makes you unique, what makes you stand out, what makes you you.
I have something that I've had this conversation with someone before, so I actually know a little bit how my thought process goes on this.
Yeah, sure.
So one of the biggest things that I see people have issue with is that they're worried that they're copying off of someone too much or something like that. Here's the thing. I am guilty of that. I did it for 3 years before I got to the style that I would consider more my own. I was what I like to call a Laws-alike, meaning I just copied the format Scott DeLaz pretty much did, and I was like, ooh, I'm like Scott DeLaz by anime, isn't that fun? I don't think that's a bad place to start. I think it's only bad if you don't stop. Everything is, almost everything is, in some form or another, inspired by something that came before it, and you're not going to be able to create something wholly unique until you almost try to replicate something else and be like, I like Scott DeLaz's style, but you know what? How about we be a little bit more serious in the topics? Actually, instead of skits, how about we add in video edited memes, stuff like that? Until eventually, by picking apart someone's style, or maybe having a different style, I have super high pitch full fear, let me take these two, and you can kind of create your own thing from that by taking multiple inspirations to find your style, because YouTube's been going on for 20 years at this point. It's going to be really hard to create your own format.
Yeah,
I agree completely. It's pretty much exactly what you were saying. Your style is kind of just everything that you like, because your creative decisions are based off of your own taste. Your taste is what you like to watch, or what you like to consume. So you'll end up just making creative decisions based on things that you enjoy. And I think that copying is the first step, slowly just implementing. And then eventually you're going to find shit that you're going to just find out stuff that that's almost never been done before, because it's just a combination of just a bunch of shit, and that's you. That's how I feel about it.
So for me, I guess it's sort of like a VHS. I probably said this in the last episode already. VHS/static is a lot of the effects I like to use. There's a lot of different video essays I would watch that use those effects, and I guess I got a lot of inspiration from that. Specifically for specific videos, like the haunted PS1 video. I really wanted it to feel some parts of the video. I really wanted to feel like a PS1 style effect. So in the beginning I did that. There was another part in the video I did that a couple times. And I guess, I don't know, horror's also kind of been a big thing for me. I'm a super huge fan of horror. So I guess VHS analog, and then mixing the horror with that. I want to combine that together and just make awesome videos with that. I would eventually like to make my own ARG and eventually make videos on specific ARGs I like. I'm kind of just a big horror fan in general, so I think horror is going to be a big theme in my videos. And obviously that's my inspiration. Horror is one of my big inspirations for my channel.
Yeah, it's definitely something that you can really... Horror specifically is one of those things that's you can be inspired by it, both in the topics that you cover and also the way you approach them. You can make a an eerie video about an eerie topic. Like, you can replicate the vibes of that really well. And,
Yeah.
like, trying to create your own aesthetic in your videos is really difficult, but I think it's really good if you can achieve it.
There's very few YouTubers can achieve it, but when they do, they're known for it.
Yeah, like, most of the time, someone's aesthetic is just their editing style. Like, if you show me a Pyrocynical bit, I'll be able to tell you that's from Pyrocynical just because of his editor's editing style. That's not, like, an aesthetic thing. It's just, that's how they do it.
Like,
It's the feel.
Yeah.
It's the feel of the video. So like with music, like it's obviously like the copying, right? Like that's like the big part of it. Like it's really hard to hear like original sounding music because there's just so much of it. And so like I don't know, I've always been intrigued by the people who makes things that I've never heard before. So like my music tends to be like kind of weird, and so that's like kind of like my like I don't know like how to specifically say like describe my style like with words because it's audio, but I think like I don't know, I go for like the really like glitchy sounds. I want to incorporate, I want to like eventually get like an analog synthesizer, which is like has a unique sound.
I'm starting
to
to detect a theme.
Yeah, well, yeah, analog is it's like
analog's cool.
yeah, it's very like I don't know. There's just like this really raw feeling with it, and like this warm. Yeah, look at that. I don't know how to describe my sound with words, right? Because it's audio. But I think like a couple words is like glitchy, noisy. My music tends to be pretty fast, in your face, obnoxious. But then I really like nice melodic things, right? So like I want to incorporate those nice melodic things with all that crap, and I'm like trying to figure out how to do that. I have all these like styles that I want to like incorporate, and then like I think once I like figure it out, you know, that's like
it'll all click.
yeah. I mean, I'm kind of there, but
You don't need to describe it. Just play some here. Come on, come on.
I
come
will
on.
play something later. We have a segment where we're gonna share something, and there's gonna be a song that I'm working on with Jeffrey, the other Kroop Scoop guy. And it's going to be released by the end of this month.
Hey guys, Editor Kroop here. Payne and Jeffrey's song is actually going to come out December 8th. Be on the lookout for that on Spotify and YouTube.
So,
yeah.
But like on the topic of like the analog, older aesthetic stuff, I don't mind. I have gotten to the point now where I like to keep whatever I'm working on a little bit more secret, because there have been a few times where I'm like, guys, I'm gonna do a thing and it's gonna be awesome. And then, like, I'm not exactly a big creator, so it's not like I have people holding it against me. But there have been times where I realize, like, oh, I can't do this. So, yeah. Well, let me just sweep that under a rug. And I want to stop doing that. However, one of the things I want to do is I want to make a Serial Experiments Lane video. I want to make the best Lane video I can. And I actually want to go into that aesthetic, so to speak. So it's just really interesting. The, like, retro aesthetic. That's why there's like a tube TV and a VHS sitting on my floor. The complete series of Lane just sitting here. Because it's just so interesting. I'm pretentious in saying this, but I do think that's like probably the best way to watch that show. When it comes to your personal style, yeah, I don't think there's a wrong way to do it as long as you're making what you want to make, then you're doing it correctly. Like, I think literally the best thing you can do is someone else's style. Ooh, what if I do this instead? Ooh, what if I take this from here and put it here? Like, chances are going to have a lot of different inspirations, and your style is just going to come together, and your style, when you look at it, is just going to be like a bunch of other people's styles super glued together. But, like, you take what you like from those people and put it into yours, and you become what you like from those people. It may not even be their best qualities, but what you personally like. At least that's the approach I do.
Yeah. And if you feel like if you're kind of in the stage where you're like, oh, I feel like I'm just like kind of copying, you know, just keep it going, because eventually it will evolve into something else.
Just don't resist. Like, don't try to be like, ooh, you know, a video like this would be good in this style. Like, it's just really good to be like, oh man, you know, I don't like doing on-camera skits. Okay, I'll stop doing on-camera skits. Or like, you know, it would be funny if I zoomed in on a funny face here and I played the boo womp sound effect. Like, okay, I don't know what YouTuber would do that, but you know what? Zoom in on that face, boom, sound effect. Now you're a YouTuber that does that.
Ethan?
Yeah, like why did I add the Culver segment in that Haunted PS1 video?
That's just you. That's you just doing whatever you want to do.
It was just me being stupid.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I want it to be. I just want it to be me, but at the same time, I want to talk about stuff I really like.
You're just like encapsulating this like chaotic feel in your videos, and I really like it.
Dude, I'm really impressed by like especially in that Haunted PS1 game. The aesthetic was so impressive.
Which one?
The Haunted PS1 game, the aesthetic, it felt like I was putting in a demo disc.
Oh yeah, it's really cool. I love the Haunted PS1 project. Like, I don't know if I think they did release one this year, so maybe I'll just like skip to that one and do a video on that one. But the other ones have some really interesting. Oh, my video. Oh.
Yeah, I was really...
Like, you mean like...
Yeah, the way you edited it, like, just the aesthetic was so good.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you had some good, like, I don't know. I remember you sending me something like you made like this menu option. I was like, did you make that? Like, you made that. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I was impressed.
I was like, let me see if I can. I randomly thought of it, and I was like, let me see if I can try this, because I never tried to do a PS1 aesthetic, and I was like, let me see if I can do it. Let me like play around with the editor, see what I can do, and then eventually I just plopped that out in an afternoon.
Yeah, I think that thought process is like the best way to evolve. I don't know how to do this, but let me see if I can figure it out. Like, I think that's probably one of the best things you can do, and I have a few things video editing wise that I think that I've been told look good, and it all just stemmed from, I don't know how to do this, but I want to learn how to do it.
I can relate to that a lot. You're just like adding skill sets to your arsenal, which also will help evolve your style, because like
yeah, it just helps so much, because now from now on, whenever you're doing a PS1 game, you're like, I know how to do this. I know the centerpiece for this. Personally, for me...
it's like a new skill I've learned.
My most recent example, or my most prominent example would be the Talentless Nana manga thing I did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, rewatching, I'm like, I could have done this better, but whatever. But from now on, if I'm talking about a property that has a manga, and I'm like, I want to make this part particularly visually engaging, I now know how to do it.
I know you like Super Eye Patch Wolf. Super Eye Patch Wolf presents manga panels in that way, and I thought you did a really good job with that. Like, it was like almost like he made that himself. Like, you did really good. I was really impressed with the manga section in that.
It looked so. It was just professional. I don't know what to tell you.
I do have. It's funny you mentioned Super Eye Patch Wolf, because I joined his Patreon Discord server and personally asked him how he made those effects.
How did he make those effects? I'm curious.
I'm sure I'm sure you can think of a way to do it where it's just like, oh, clip out all of the images and then like set them to move. And like, see, here's the thing. I'm going to put my thought process on you, and you're like, wow, that sounds annoying and a lot of work. It is exactly that. It is exactly, you open up Photoshop and you cut out all the parts you want moving, put them in different layers, save it as a Photoshop file, and import it into Adobe Premiere, and then you just move shit. There are some YouTubers that just do crazy stuff with it, though, but that was the end of that thought.
Yeah, the thing about editing, like when you're doing like certain like segments like that require a lot of editing like that, it's kind of crazy how like fast time will fly. Like you'll finally finish that segment, you'll be like, wait a minute, it's been 6 hours. And I did this one thing. Holy shit. Like, that's how long, like, editing is a very like long and slow process, and especially like it can be a little tedious sometimes, like because you're constantly rewatching it over and over again. I don't know if you guys do this, but when I like render out a certain video, or I finish the video, I like have to watch it at least like 3-5 times before I upload it, like just to want to make sure, am I happy with this? Is this what I want up there? I have to do it. I just got to do it.
Yeah.
I wish I was that extra bit of thorough. I go through everything I do so many times that I keep making this mistake. I'm like, ooh, no, I'm covered. I've seen this part so many times. I upload it, watch it on YouTube when it goes live because every view counts, and I'm like, I accidentally left Photoshop artifacts. And if you watch my Vid1 Saga video,
Yeah.
There's a part where it's like a meme of a dog holding out something, and then it shows like text you. If you look at that part, you know, like when you make a new text file in Photoshop and it says the name of the font.
Yeah.
If you look at that, you see a tiny like font name in the U, and I didn't realize it until the video went live.
Damn. Yeah, that's the worst.
I hate noticing when I left a mistake in. There's a mistake in the BattleBots video, and every time I see it, I'm like, fuck.
And the thing is, people probably aren't gonna now like for that particular mistake. A few people are probably gonna be like, that's funny. But like the majority of mistakes, especially like as you probably get better. I don't know. I don't consider myself very good at editing. I'm in the process of learning, but I'm not like there. But it's one of those things where like I can look at that specifically that Talentless Donna segment, and I'm like, wow, there's a mistake. That pause was too long. That disappeared too long. These are mistakes that I would love to convince YouTube to give me that file just so I could change it a little bit and just put it back up without saying anything.
Yeah. I wish you could just like keep it with the same link. Just like take it back real quick, you know, put some fixes in there and just put it back in there. It's like same link, same views. Nothing changed. It's just you just changed the video.
Let me shine it up a bit.
While you guys are talking about like little like details like that, do you guys feel like the detail work takes up more time than like the actual like big parts of the video? If that makes sense, or like anything that you're making? Like you started talking about like the little animations and like the cutting out. Like, would you say that's like the most time-consuming parts compared to like the actual recording of the video, or like?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. If we're taking like everything individually, yeah, that part, besides like Reese... Dog barking. Whoa, that was a weird skip. I wonder what happened there. So, that small detail work, I think, especially if it's a very detail-oriented section, that can take up the most amount of time, but I would also say that it's like the most important. Because if you watch like a really, really long video essay, not all of the editing is going to be super complex and superb and all that stuff. Like, there's a lot of times where it's just shot of the game, shot of the game, shot of the game, and then it'll be like this edited segment, and that edited segment will look really... I think it's important that when you're trying, you try your best so you can show people about how high elevated these edited segments are above like the rest of the section.
Yeah.
It's also a lot more fun in my opinion, like just making something that looks really cool.
Yeah, something just catches your eye. You're just like, whoa, I like that.
I just heard of this, like, I don't know where I heard this, but like there's this concept of like, it's called like the 80-20 rule or some shit. Like 80% of your project will take up 20% of the time, and that last 20% will take about 80% of your time. So like the last bit of detail work, the last 20% will take around 80% of your time, which I don't know how accurate that is. I know that's for sure accurate with music. It might be even more like, it might be way more like drastic with music, but for video making, I imagine it's similar, but maybe not so much.
I definitely think it depends on what you're doing. My lots of like videos were so easy to just pop out. Like the longest thing when it came to making those videos. Now I'm not saying this is of Scott DeVaz's style, just how I did it, which based on how well that went, we can see how good those videos are. But for that particularly, it was very low effort. It was very fast. But like once it goes into that realm of detailed work that requires that detail. And I keep saying this not a segment. I swear, I promise I'm not like putting this segment on like a huge pedestal. It's just the first time that I spent like an absurd amount of time on one. That alone, that video took me like 3 weeks to edit. That part took me a week and a half.
Damn. That's crazy.
You guys want to know something weird about the Culver segment in the 100 PS1 video?
Yeah.
I had work tomorrow, but I couldn't sleep. But I had an idea in my head, and I was like, what if I forget tomorrow? So I just got up at 1 a.m. and just started making it. And I just kept doing it until like 5 a.m. I was like, oh shit, I have 3 hours until I go to work.
Oh, that's how it gets you, though.
That's pretty cool,
That's how
though.
it gets you.
I like that kind of stuff, because that's when you're like inspired, so you just like get up out of bed and you just go, you know?
Yeah.
I remember not knowing how I was going to visualize something in the Anime That Live video, and it wasn't until I was just laying down, drifting off to sleep, I was like, oh, for the first episode, I should just, like, show the first episode in similar style to how I did that manga segment. Perfect.
There was this one time I was in the shower, and I literally, like, was thinking about this, like, one segment, and this, like, I was working on this remix, and, like, I wanted this, like, grand ending, and, like, I had this, like, idea, right? This, like, the sequence and, like, composition of this, like, aggressive sounding ending, and, like, I, like, translated it perfectly from my head to the computer right when I got out of the shower. And that's like one of the first times I've ever done that with music.
That's crispy.
Because a lot of times with music, you're like, oh, fuck, I had this idea in my head, and it just, like, comes out and it sounds like a fucking poop. But then, like, it was, like, one of the first times I heard this, and I was like, fuck, yeah. It was, like, the exact sequence of, like, rhythm. It was, like, but that was, like, one of the most satisfying production moments in my experience.
That is absolutely sick. You want to know something that's overpowered if you can achieve it? If you have to do something that is like thought planning intensive, I work as a cashier. There is so much time where I am just, my mind is somewhere else. And if there's anything that I do that's remotely cool, it's because I was just on a different planet while ringing up someone's Funyuns.
Yeah.
The manga panel thing came from me just standing at a register bored out of my mind. Because like, when I'm not doing anything, I'm like, I wonder if I could do this. Or I wonder how I could do that. And I was thinking like, oh man, if I just move this stuff, ooh, I know a YouTuber that did something similar. Ooh, actually, I know that this effect does this. And then I just go home and I start editing because I'm just like, oh wow, that's an important thought. I'm just gonna put it right here on this side of my brain for now.
Yeah, I can't really do that.
I have came up with some ideas at work. I worked at Planet Fitness, so there would be times where I'd be walking around with a headphone in my ear while cleaning shit and just like kind of just zoning out, and I would just be like kind of brainstorming while I'm at work.
Yeah,
because it was just such a boring job.
I actually decide video topics when I'm working because one of the ways that I choose a topic is I will pretend like I will mentally be reading a script that doesn't exist and see how much and how varied that thought can be. Because I'm just bored out of my mind. And I'll be like, oh yeah, Bochi the Rock is this so and so and so and so and so. And oh, then I could do a thing where I talk about the music. And oh, there's that animation section there. Oh man, I should make a Bochi video. And literally today, I decided on what my next video was going to be after the one I'm currently working on. Because I was just like, man, because I was just sitting there, a song played in my ear because I work with a headphone in. And I was like, man, I just wish people started approaching this topic with this. Because I feel like we're ignoring this section of this thing because we're just so focused on this. And while this is completely warranted, we're just ignoring the actual topic itself because we're getting sidetracked. Ah, shit, this is my next video.
That's cool. That's like super like useful, I feel like. I mean, there's like some moments where I'm like that. If I'm already working on a song, I can like, oh shit, I can just totally just do this part. But I can't like spawn a song in my head, unfortunately. Sometimes I do, but like it doesn't turn out well, and I forget it usually.
I think your first step in the creation process is a lot harder than most video stuff. I'm gonna say specifically video stuff inspired by media because I don't know what the hell it takes to come up with a Mr. Beast video idea. But for like music, like for me or Kroop, it's just like, wow, we like this thing. Let's see if we can approach this thing here. I don't speak for Kroop, but I'm just guessing. That's how for everyone.
Yeah.
But when it comes to music, like when it comes to you are creating something from nothing, and I have no idea how you do that.
Yeah.
Like we've had conversations like this before, and I still don't get the first step in creating a song because it's literally something. It's literally something from nothing.
Yeah. Well, that we can maybe go into our next topic and talk about our creative rituals and habits. But yeah. So usually you start off with just like fucking around and something, and then like if something sounds good, and then you build off of it. That's kind of like the general like way to like that I start off. But I think I kind of want to talk about how I make music with Jeffrey, because Jeffrey and I, whenever we make music together, we end up doing like the same thing, and I think it's kind of funny. So we'll usually make like a song, not like the whole song, but like the basis of a song in like one day or like one night, and it'll start off with him either on the guitar like making, and he'll like just play with it, and then he'll hear something that sounds good, or it start with me making a really crazy sound, and then we either arrange that into something rhythmic, and then we try to like make that like crazy part like a contrasting part with it, if that makes sense, and we try to like play with how that works. We try to make really weird decisions just to get something new and unique. After we get like that together, he'll like try to sing on it, and usually it goes pretty well. He's pretty good at like singing on the fly and like coming up with lyrics. For some reason, every time, I mean, it makes sense because we will make the song, render it, put it on our phones, and then we'll get something to eat and listen to it in the car like 30 times on our way to the fucking Popeyes or something. And then we'll eat, take a little like ear break, and then we'll go back to it and then just like listen to it a million times on the computer and then keep working on it. So that's like kind of our ritual, not a ritual, but like a thing that we do every time is like we go out to eat and like listen to it in the car. It's like super, I don't know, it's super fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's like a creative thing that we do.
I edit out of order. Like I don't start with the beginning of the video. Sometimes I'll like start like editing like the middle of the video, or maybe like I'll build around like what I want the ending of the video to be. But sometimes another thing that I do a lot is if I like, get frustrated while I'm editing, like if like something's like not like clicking and I'm like, fuck, this is not like what I want, then I'll just like take like a quick break, like a 10-minute break, go on a walk, put some like music in my ear. I've said this before, music is like a big inspiration for me too in terms of like video editing. It kind of gives me like ideas, like gives me an idea of like visually, I don't know, it's weird. It's super weird that I do that, but whenever I go on a walk and I do that and I come back and I tackle this thing again, it's not usually, it just like clicks. It's like, okay, now this is what I want. This is all coming together. Yeah, I'm like super sporadic with editing. Like I'll do like one segment that's like somewhere else in the video first, and then like I usually like the Haunted PS1 video, like the beginning of that video, I didn't do that until like I was almost done with the video. Like my introduction of like Haunted PS1 and all that. Like what it is, like the project is and all the games and stuff. So it's weird. Yeah. I have a weird way of doing it.
I feel like that's difficult just because you had to like think about the future, I guess. It's like,
yeah,
like think about what we're going to say in the future versus like what you're going to say now. I don't know. With music, you can make a chorus and then the intro later. It's like super easy to make things out of order, but with video editing, I don't know how.
Like I have the script. I have like a script as a basis, but sometimes I change that a lot too. Like I'll change what I said in the script when I actually record it to make it sound more like me.
Yeah.
So I just have a really weird process. What about you, Faker? What's your creative rituals?
So I have to edit. I edit from start to end. If I am at the halfway point, there's nothing past that that's edited. Everything behind that's already finalized. I do not move on from a segment until I am done with it. And it's just because I like to know that that part is done. There may be some stuff that's just like, oh, I don't have this resource or I need someone else. And then I'll just like put a giant marker there. But I don't like moving on until something's done. That way I already know the pacing. There is an issue I had with my Vinland Saga video where I just included too many jokes and it just was awful. It wasn't a bad video, but like the jokes don't land because I'm just throwing them at you too fast. And it's because I didn't have a good enough idea of the pacing of the video already, even though I was doing the same thing. So I like to have something finalized. That way I'm like, wow, that was like blah, 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 blah. That was like a chunk of jokes. Like it had this tone and I don't want to stay on the same tone for too long. So I'm like, okay, we had this tone. Now let's transition into this tone and add this bit. Okay, that was 2 bits. Now let's move on to a different, like stuff like that. For the music thing, I listen to Silent Hill music. I listen to music from the first 3 Silent Hill games on repeat, and every script I've written since my last video, every time I work on a project, End of a Small Sanctuary is just on repeat. I don't know why. It just gets my brain going. But you were saying, I have one more crazy thing, but you were saying, because if we're talking about End of a Small Sanctuary or music like that, then I'm on board.
Mine is Resident Evil 4 Save Room music, Serenity. It's there's something about that soundtrack. It just gets you thinking. You're just like,
Huh.
But the crazy thing that I do with my writing, because I like to know what my scripts sound like. So what I first start out when I'm watching something, I take a bunch of notes. Naturally, but I physically take the notes. I pen and paper take the notes. That way I understand them better. And then I create an outline that's like, talk about this segment, and then I fill in the transitions. And then I'll keep doing that until I feel like the video is good. And then I will physically write out the script with the rule of it doesn't matter how bad it is. Something just needs to exist. And then I physically print out the script and go over it with a pen. And this is for my next video, but it's fine. I physically go over it with a pen about changes I want to do, things I need to recheck to make sure they're right, things that if I didn't know the topic, would I understand the topic? Like, would I understand what I'm saying? And I go over all of that. I go into my Word file with the script, and I implement all those changes, and then I print it out again. And then I do that again until either I have done it 3 separate times or until I'm satisfied.
Dang.
You said you're not very,
That's
like...
crazy.
I don't know what the word is, but you kind of just, like, when you were talking about your editing... You said you don't, like, look over it as much, but it seems like your script writing, you really, like, try to get that down before you...
Because here's the thing when it comes to editing, because I do go over that stuff. Like, there are a lot of times where I'm like, oh my god, I've been working on the same part for 7 hours, and I am so sick of this. You know what? I'm going to watch from start to end of this video to see how I feel about it. So, like, typically, like, I try to finalize the stuff.
Yeah.
But I am rewatching it because I'm like, you know what? I want to know what it feels like to have the part finished again. And then I'll just rewatch it. I'm like, oh, I should change that there. Like, even though I thought it was finalized, you know, let's change that there. But, like, when it comes to script, I don't like doing the voiceover recording because I can do everything. I can force just about any step of the process except the voice recording. I have to be in the right mood for voice recording. So I want to make sure the script is perfect and the voice recording is done. I want that stuff to make sure it is done before I even leave the cutting room.
That's a good approach. It's a really good approach. And it shows. You watch Fako's videos. It shows.
True. He has been improving. I mean, you can tell, like, when he started to do it, I feel like, you know, like, your videos are, like, have just been improving with every video, I feel like.
Woo!
Hopefully this one's even better.
Time for another topic, or do you want to go into, like, talk about, like, what we're working on?
Let's do that. Let's talk about what you guys are working on. I'm not going to be talking about what I'm working on. I'm going to be showing a failed project, but you guys can go first.
Okay, all right.
Oh my god, I almost threw my script at Peanut. It almost hit her. There's a script over there. She's right over there. I'm glad Peanut's safe.
Yeah, for the audio listeners.
For the audio listeners, here's a song.
I think I mentioned earlier that Jeffrey and I have a song that's 95%, 99% done. We're going to release it by the end of the month. And I want to show just a small segment. I don't want to show the whole thing. I was going to show the song and then talk about maybe how it was kind of done. Not like specifics, but there's a little bit of a story going on. But I'll show the first verses. So.
My heart is underneath the way that I look aimless as I wander in the street. The house is burning down and I'm forgetting how to breathe. I'm losing everything. My heart is underneath the message in a bottle I threw straight into the sea. It's under lock and key, don't even dare to dream. Can't tell you how I think, I say what I don't mean. My heart is hurting, the objects in the rearview might be closer than I think. The house looks like a candle and it's burning out. I'm running from my time, I'm running highway speed. My heart is underneath the way I look away, the way I cover up my teeth. The reason that I lie and say I'm living in my peace. The company I keep, the people that I leave.
So,
I liked it.
thank you.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I'm here for that. That was a vibe.
Yeah. So that song was created. Was started like a year and a half ago. Jeffrey came over one day. We made like basically like, well, we made like half of the instrumental, and then like it was like put into to sleep for a while, and then I loaded it up again, and I made another half of the instrumental, which is like this crazy part that I didn't even show yet. But yeah, so like the instrumental was done for like a year, and then just recently, like last weekend, literally, Jeffrey came over and he recorded those vocals, and I kind of like moved things around so the vocals would work. And yeah, we're super excited. And the night, like I told you guys, that we go out to eat like in the middle of recording, we took a bunch of pictures outside, and we were using those pictures to make like a not like a music video, but it's gonna be like a little visualizer on YouTube. So they're actually really cool pictures, and I'm really excited Jeffrey's making it. But yeah.
That's awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
Poggers. It's gonna be EP, right?
It's gonna be a single. We have 2 songs. We're gonna release 2 songs as an EP. Those are 2 separate songs that we have almost done. One of the songs is done, but the other song is like 90% done, I would say. One of the songs has an Evangelion reference.
Ooh.
Look forward to that. Yeah. So that's what I've been working on. I've been trying to get them mixed down.
I mean, I'll go next. All right. So this was a scrapped project. This was my attempt at a Halloween special. I never finished it. This was like very early into the project, and it's very rough. I wasn't very happy with it, and I kind of got a little demotivated after a while. I'm coming back. So my problem with this video was that I think I was over ambitious with it. I gave myself from the beginning of October to basically watch 31 horror movies for a Halloween special. It was going to be called 31 Nights, 31 Frights. It was going to feel like a cheesy TV promotional like movie marathon you would catch on like midnight. I wanted that to have that feeling with like, it was going to seem like an 80s thing. I wanted to have an 80s vibe. I did not watch 31 movies. I should have gave myself more time. Because little did I know, October's over. So, but you know what? I'll do it next year, and I'll give myself 3 months. That's enough.
Start working on it now.
31 movies.
Yeah.
Or I can start working on it now. I already watched 10, so that's
like,
only.
just script out those sections. That's a third of it done already.
Yeah, here's the rough version of it. It's really rough. So the beginning of this was filmed with a very old camera I have. Where is that? I'll show it later. But it's a really old camera, and I just basically went around and filmed some Halloween decorations to give it like a little spooky vibe. It's super shaky, I'm realizing.
I think it adds to it.
Hey guys, it's Kroop. Are you ready for the movie marathon of a lifetime? Join me for 31 Nights, 31 Frights. And the rest of these were clips I was gonna voice over, but I never did. But yeah,
You
that's...
have such a good video identity.
That was great. I mean,
What's that?
That intro clip was so good. What the hell?
You have such a good identity on camera. Like, it is crazy how good of an identity you have.
I was gonna do like a special effect there where it like had blood. It was like 31 nights, 31 frights, and it's gonna be like lightning, like. But yeah, that was what the idea was gonna be.
I mean, I like it a lot. I think you should definitely do that next year. You got a good thing. I wouldn't say that's a fail. I would say it's a fail in the time management department.
Yeah.
That's about it.
One of the biggest things I've learned to avoid in terms of content production, at least for me, no holiday specials. Videos, I try to set a deadline, but ultimately they're done when they're done, and I don't need any exterior forces trying to add more deadline.
Yeah, like even like the Kroop Scoop Halloween special, that came out in November. That didn't even come out for Halloween.
It's always like that.
I don't know anyone who's gotten a holiday special out correctly.
Yeah, Yoshi is always doing his stuff super late, and it's so funny. Like his Christmas special was like in January.
Yeah.
It's the most wonderful time.
Or we do like
Of
the
the
Zelcadians, we'd do like 3 days late. We'd make the special on the day. We'd like start the production on the day.
Yeah, we start production. He's like, wait a minute, we have to edit it. Oh shit, it came out a week later.
But yeah, I like that project.
Dude, it was so good. You gotta.
It'll be back. It'll be back.
Gotta make
October
more
will come
videos in
back
general.
sooner or later. I know. I got one coming up. Don't you worry, Kroop Scoopers, poopers.
Isn't it just Kroopers at that point? Like if it's just a you thing, isn't that for the Kroopers, not the Kroop Scoopers?
Oh yeah.
Is Scoop your last name?
Oh yeah, it is the Kroopers. I guess technically, lore-wise, yeah, Kroop Scoop. That's my last name.
So when I was trying to form, like when I was trying to do the Lazarus thing, this is a quick side note. When I was trying to do the Lazarus thing, I wanted to try to implement my own running jokes. In the abandoned Faco canon, Faco is my last name. My first name is It's. Yeah, there's a little bit of abandoned canon for you.
Flaco, do you have anything you want to share or talk about?
So, I could ramble about the fact that I'm working on a Grimgar video, which is one of my favorite anime, and like, I went over a little while ago to see how many times I've mentioned Grimgar across my time on YouTube. It's like 7 separate times. But also, if you look at so I consider my 4 last videos, at least at the time of recording, which is Bochi, Dr. Stone, Vinland Saga, and How Anime Lied to You. Those are the only 4 videos I would ever ask anyone to watch, because that's when I started doing the visual novel stuff. And 2 of those videos I had, like, 3 of them. And 3 of them, I had very prominent Grimgar sections, where in the Bochi video, it zoomed in, it said me waiting for Grimgar Season 2. Dr. Stone, there's a part where a character's crying, but I put fake subtitles over it saying, oh, I want Dr. Pepper. And then the third one, I made a Final Fantasy joke in the Vinland Saga video, but I showed Grimgar footage for it. That is the video I'm working on right now, and honestly, I've been kind of stalling. Oh my god, there's a part in it, it's gonna be I have to learn Blender. I have to learn how to use Blender to do it. Oh. And I'm excited for it. But yeah,
you're gonna do Blender? Holy shit.
Yeah, I'll tell you what it is, because I actually have his name is Jake the Player. He's been helping me like learn Blender. Grimgar starts off of like a bunch of characters wake up in a dark room, and it's just like, awaken. Oh, you don't remember anything. You's a bitch. You're in a fantasy world now. Go out and kill some goblins. I want to do a segment where you as a viewer are our horror hero, and you open your eyes when it says awaken, and you see the stone floor beneath you, you look around in darkness, and you see the character portraits faded in while I'm narrating how the story begins. And then, like, I want to have the camera go out into the door of light, and then, like, it pans out to the setting of Grimgar.
That's sick.
And
it's
gonna
ambitious, but that's sick.
It's gonna be a pain in the ass, but here's the great thing about not having a fan base. I can take as long as I want.
Yeah.
I have friends that are waiting for this video. And here's the thing. There are people that like my videos. I got like over 20 subscribers on my latest video. That beats my record.
Heck yeah.
But I don't get paid for it. If I just want to play Final Fantasy 14 for the next month, I can. I'm not going to, but I can. That's the plus side.
Yeah.
Okay, but so
if it ever gets to that point, you got to make a video about Final Fantasy 14.
I promised myself that if I ever completely lost myself to, like, if I lose myself to anything the same way I lost myself to Baldur's Gate 3 when it came out, it has to become a video. Because if I lose a month of my life to anything, I have something to say. Okay. But I do have something, like I said earlier, which I'm glad I had to segue, because you're showing like, a failed project. I downloaded this video off Discord when I sent it to someone. I want to make a Lane video, but I want to make the Lane video when I feel like I want to level up a bit more before I cover it. Mm-hmm. But I was considering putting in hints that I wanted to cover Lane at some point. I decided to scrap it because who knows, maybe I'll find out like Serial Experiments Lane is only for people who fucking eat the ends of like the sandwich bread, and I don't want to be associated with that crowd. But this was a Lane modified outro I made that I considered putting at the end of a different video, but now I don't do these traditional outros anymore. But this was something I was gonna do. I don't know if I don't know who's looking, and I can just send this to whoever
I am looking.
is editing.
Yeah.
Present day. Present time.
Oh, whoa. I like that.
Ashamed you seemed an honest man. I know the fears you hold so
That's cool.
Yeah, so cause
That's cool.
the thing for the Lane video is I wanted to, it's gonna be jokey because here I don't have a full serious video on me. I would love to be one of those people that's like, here is my passion to, I gotta add some silly bits, but I want to have segments that replicate how I feel when I'm watching Lane, and stuff like that where it's just a little bit eerie and a little bit out of technological date, but still relevant. I love, like, here, I actually have the camera sitting to the side that I used to film that. This one right here. It doesn't connect to a computer at all. It's like a very old digital camera. This was when HD was still 720p, which is further than Lane, but I would like it to be very much watchable. I had to take the SD card out of this, it takes AA batteries by the way, and plug it into my current camera. That way it could connect to my computer. And for this part, for the opening, I had it playing through my TV speakers, because, you know, I wanted it to have a low effort feel to it. But when it cuts to this and it's only playing the vocal version of the song, what I did was I turned on this camera and I just had it recording the audio. I took off my headphones and turned the volume up all the way. That way it still sounded like it was coming through low quality speakers.
Yeah, it gives that like
That's clever.
old cell phone sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So-
pretty sick.
That would never see the light of day if it wasn't for this exact podcast, but that is like what I want to do with the Lane video. So technically that exact outro is a scrapped thing, but the Lane video, that is ever so slowly being worked on, because I need to watch that show so many times to feel confident in what I want to say about it.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
With that show. I need to watch it over again.
I really need to watch it. I really like the opening. I've seen the opening, and I've
Yeah.
listened to it quite a bit, actually.
If you come over to
Really like
Tennessee,
it.
we can watch it on VHS.
That would be fucking
That sounds-
sick.
That sounds so sick.
You
Listen,
get a bunch of pizza.
You ever find
Just
yourself
watch
in
Lane.
Tennessee? Stop by here. We're watching Lane. We're ordering Papa John's. We're watching Lane. We're bringing this into my living room. We're each gonna have our own beanbag chairs. We're just gonna fucking watch the show. My brother made the mistake
Start to
of
finish.
My brother made the mistake of trying to watch Lane high, and that was really funny.
Oh, I
shit.
would have loved that high, actually. Don't do
He
drugs.
had to-
That'd be
we
a
had to
crazy show
stop-
high.
We had to stop on episode 5 because it was making him nervous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I bet. Oh, you guys ready to wrap? Close this out?
Yeah.
Any
Dude,
final
I'm not
words?
a good singer.
Look out for all of our stuff. Watch It's Fako on YouTube.
If my video doesn't come out by November, it's because I didn't want to hurt the sanctity of this episode when I described Grimgar as an upcoming project, so I waited for this episode to come out.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll make sure this gets out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
All right,
scoop.
that's the scoop.
Stop
We'll
recording.
see you guys next time.
All right.